Right, you ready for this one? This deep dive is going to be a wild one.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking social media influencers, international drug trafficking,
Mm-hmm.
dog rescues.
Really?
Yeah, so imagine this, right? You come across this woman's profile online.
Okay.
She's like super charismatic,
Mm-hmm.
successful entrepreneur running this super successful dog rescue charity.
Yeah.
Her social media popping off
Yeah.
heartwarming stories, cute puppies finding their forever homes,
People love that stuff.
thousands of followers, donations pouring in. Everybody loves her,
Yeah. Sounds like a real feel-good story.
Total beacon of positivity, right?
Totally.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
This woman, this social media darling,
Yeah.
is actually a mastermind.
What?
They called her the cocaine queen.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
She was like a key player in this massive European cocaine trafficking ring.
I would have never guessed.
Nope, not from her online presence.
So how did she manage to pull that off?
I know. Our sources say the authorities were after her for like 4 years
4 years.
before they finally caught her.
That's a long time.
I know, right?
That must have been a sophisticated operation.
Oh, absolutely. This wasn't some small time, street corner deal.
Right.
This was high level stuff.
Had to have been to evade capture for that long.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
You got to have serious knowledge of law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a network of people helping you.
Yeah. You can't do that alone.
And who knows, maybe even some corrupt officials feeding her information.
Ooh. Yeah, that's getting into some conspiracy theory territory.
I know. It's like something out of a movie.
It really is.
It really is. So, okay, let's break down some of the specifics here.
Okay.
Sources mention forged passports
Classic.
and constant relocation.
Oh yeah, makes it hard to track you down if you're always moving.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you even keep up with that?
It's tricky. It's tricky.
Forged passports, that's like straight out of a spy novel.
It's a tried and true method for international criminals.
Right. You disappear, you become someone else.
Exactly. Brand new identity, new country. It's like starting over.
Wow, and get this.
Okay.
She was living it up. Like luxury resorts,
Oh wow.
high society circles, no one suspecting a thing.
That's wild. I guess that's how she avoided suspicion.
I think so, right?
Yeah.
You see someone living that lavishly?
Yeah. You don't think drug lore?
Right. You think successful businesswoman, philanthropist.
Yeah, you think they earned it legitimately.
Exactly. So it's like her lifestyle, it was a shield almost.
Yeah, I could see that.
A shield of wealth and glamour.
It's amazing how appearances can be so deceiving.
I know, right? Especially when you throw social media into the mix.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other layer.
But okay, let's talk about the psychology of this for a second. How do you live this double life?
Mm-hmm.
On one hand, you're running a dog rescue.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you're coordinating international drug deals.
It's mind-boggling.
How do you even compartmentalize that in your head?
That's a question that, psychologists are still trying to figure out.
Right.
I mean, some people, they just have this remarkable ability to compartmentalize.
It's like they separate these different parts of their lives.
Create these separate boxes and they don't overlap.
And it's like they can function perfectly normally in each box.
Yeah, it's like a switch they can flip on and off.
Exactly. So is it possible she genuinely believed in the dog rescue
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
while also justifying her, criminal activities?
Maybe she saw it as a way to balance things out.
Like the good deeds outweigh the bad?
It's possible we see that sometimes with white-collar criminals.
Oh, yeah. Those who donate a bunch of money to charity.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then they're also committing fraud or something.
It's like they're trying to buy their way into heaven.
Right. They can make up for their bad deeds with good ones.
It's chilling, though.
It is. It's disturbing.
I think about the people who supported her,
Yeah, who believed in her.
who thought they were helping these animals.
And all along, it was,
And it was all connected to this dark underbelly.
yeah, a web of criminal activity.
It really makes you question everything you see online
It does. It really makes you think twice about who to trust.
about online personas, about
What's real and what's not.
yeah, and about the potential for deception.
And the power of a carefully crafted image.
Like she created this whole facade,
A persona that was completely different from who she really was.
and it worked for years.
It did. It was very effective.
So let's dig deeper into this criminal enterprise.
Okay.
How did she become the cocaine queen?
That's a good question. She had to climb the ranks somehow.
Our sources say she was a key player in this whole thing.
Not just some low-level pawn.
No, she was a major figure in this whole operation.
So how'd she get there? Organized crime, it's like a ladder. You gotta
Yeah.
climb your way up.
You got to prove yourself.
You gotta be smart. You gotta be ruthless.
And I imagine in that world,
Yeah.
you got to be willing to do some pretty bad things.
Oh, absolutely. There's no room for sentimentality in that world.
No, it's all about power and money.
And survival.
And this wasn't just local, right? This was international.
Oh, yeah, we're talking multiple countries.
Oh, moving massive amounts of cocaine.
Across borders.
That takes some serious coordination.
Oh, tons of it.
Logistics, planning,
You gotta have a network, people you trust in different countries.
people who can handle the
The
transportation,
distribution.
the money laundering.
Whole 9 yards.
It's like a well-oiled machine.
It has to be to run that smoothly for so long.
Okay, so we've got this huge criminal operation
Mhm.
spanning continents,
Leaving a trail of drugs and money.
but eventually the authorities catch up to her.
Yeah, 4 years later, but they got her.
4 years, that's a testament to her skills.
Her cunning, her ability to stay ahead of the game.
But also it says something about the authorities, right?
Oh, yeah, they must have been relentless.
I mean, to coordinate a manhunt on that scale,
Across multiple countries.
that long,
It takes dedication, resources.
cooperation between agencies.
I have everyone on the same page.
So what can you tell us about how these international agencies work together?
Well, it's like a global network
Okay.
dedicated to fighting this kind of transnational crime.
So they share information.
Yeah, they share intelligence, they coordinate investigations.
So it's not just one agency going after
No,
her.
but his whole team.
It's like a global task force.
In a way, yeah, all working together to bring her down.
Amazing. It's like something you'd see in a movie.
It is. It's high-stakes international intrigue.
So they finally catch her,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just the beginning, right?
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Now the real work begins.
The investigation really kicks into high gear.
Exactly, because now we got to figure out, well, like how deep does this go?
Who else was involved?
Were there corrupt officials helping her?
What about the charity? Was it all a front?
So many questions still unanswered.
And the answers could be pretty explosive.
This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah, buckle up because this ride's not over yet.
We're just getting started.
This is gonna be good.
So we've been talking about this, like duality, right?
Yeah.
The cocaine queen
Mhm.
on one hand, this dog rescue philanthropist on the other.
A fascinating case, really.
You mentioned earlier that investigators sometimes see this kind of thing, like
Mhm.
genuine good mixed in with criminal activity.
They're more common than you might think.
Really?
Yeah, the human mind, it's a complicated thing.
Right. Like how can someone...
People can hold conflicting beliefs,
Yeah.
engage in behaviors that seem totally contradictory.
So you're saying some criminals might actually believe in the good work their charities are doing?
It's possible, yeah, they might be involved in some shady business.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they truly believe they're making a difference with their philanthropy.
So it's not always a clear-cut case of like using a charity as a front.
Not always, no. There are definitely cases where there's a genuine desire to help.
Wow. That's kind of hard to wrap your head around.
It is. It's a strange mix of motives.
So with the cocaine queen's dog rescue, how would investigators even figure out if it was legitimate?
Well, they dig deep into the financials.
Okay.
Look for any red flags like weird transactions or discrepancies.
Right, like where's the money coming from? Where's it going?
Exactly. They'd also talk to people involved with the charity.
The staff, volunteers, people who benefited.
Yep. See if the stories line up,
Yep.
if there's evidence of real impact.
So they're trying to build a picture of like, was this actually helping animals?
Exactly. They're looking for concrete evidence, not just good intentions.
Okay, let's say hypothetically they find that the charity was actually legit. Did that change anything for the cocaine queen legally?
Probably not. I mean, the charges against her are for drug trafficking.
Right.
That's separate from the charity, legally speaking.
So even if she was genuinely helping dogs, she's still guilty of the other crimes.
Exactly. The law focuses on the specific actions, not the overall person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like you can't just offset your bad deeds with good ones.
Right. You can't just say, well, I did this good thing, so it's okay that I did this bad thing.
It's wild. This whole case is just, it's like a puzzle box.
It really is so many layers.
It makes you wonder what drives someone to live like
To
that.
have these two completely separate lives.
Is it just about the money?
Partly, I'm sure, but it's probably more complex than that.
Right. Like there's got to be some psychological factor at play.
Oh, I mean, think about the thrill, the power.
The risk, the
Some
danger,
people are drawn to that.
like they get off on living on the edge.
Maybe it's about control too.
Control
Yeah, like they're in control of this secret world, this hidden life.
while everyone else is clueless.
Exactly. They're pulling the strings, they're calling the shots.
But didn't she ever worry about getting caught?
Maybe not, or maybe she just thought she was smarter than everyone else.
Like she could outsmart the system.
It's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah. And what about the people around her?
The ones who trusted her.
The ones who supported the charity?
That's the saddest part, really.
They got betrayed.
Yeah, their trust was shattered, and that can be really damaging.
It's like, it's not just her that suffers, it's everyone she touched.
The ripple effect is huge.
And what about, like, the platforms that host these online personas?
Social media, you mean?
Yeah. Do they have any responsibility here?
I think so. They should be doing more to vet these organizations.
They make sure they're legit.
Exactly. They need to protect their users from scams and fraud.
But it's tough, right? Because there's always new ways to deceive people.
It's a constant battle.
So, okay, back to the investigation. 4 years, that's a long time.
It is. It takes a lot of work to track someone like that down.
What kind of techniques do they use?
Well, they probably started with financial analysis.
Following the money.
Exactly. Tracing those transactions, looking for patterns.
And she was constantly on the move, right?
Yeah, so they had to use surveillance too.
Like traditional surveillance.
Some of that, but they also have these sophisticated data analysis tools now.
Oh, well, like what?
They can track online activity, analyze communication patterns.
So they're using technology to, like, predict her movements.
In a way, yeah. It's pretty amazing what they can do.
And don't forget, human intelligence.
Oh, yeah. Informants, undercover agents.
People on the inside.
That can be invaluable.
So it's like, it's a mix of old school detective work
Yeah.
and cutting edge technology.
Yeah, that's how they get the job done.
And it's not just about catching her, right?
No, it's about dismantling the whole operation.
Finding her accomplices.
Shutting down the flow of drugs and money.
It's like cutting off the head of the snake.
Exactly, but you got to make sure you get all the pieces.
So her arrest, it's a big deal.
Oh, yeah, it's a major victory.
But it's just the start of another chapter.
Exactly. The investigation continues.
Now they got to unravel the whole web.
Figure out how deep it goes.
Who else was involved?
And bring them all to justice.
It's like the dominoes are starting to fall.
One by one.
And hopefully in the end, the truth will come out.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Exactly. That's what we're all hoping for.
Justice for everyone who was harmed by her actions.
It's a reminder that no matter how clever you think you are, the truth eventually has a way of coming out.
It always does.
No matter how elaborate the facade,
The mask eventually slips.
and the real person underneath is revealed.
And then they have to face the consequences.
It's a powerful message
It is a cautionary tale.
and a reminder that we can't always believe what we see,
Especially online.
especially online, where it's so easy to create a false image.
To hide behind a carefully crafted persona.
So as we move into the final part of this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to shift the focus back to you, the listener.
Okay.
We've really gone deep on this whole, like, double life thing.
Yeah, it's a lot to process.
The cocaine queen, the dog rescue, the investigation, the whole 9 yards.
A lot of twists and turns.
So now, like, I want to hear from you, the listener.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Does this, like, change how you view things online?
Do you trust those perfect-looking profiles less now?
Right. Like, she seems so genuine.
And it turned out to be a complete facade.
So, like, what can we learn from this? What can we, like, take away from this story?
I think it's a reminder to be cautious, to not take everything at face value.
Yeah, especially online.
Especially online, things aren't always what they seem.
So what should we be looking for? Like, what are some red flags?
Well, one thing is transparency. Like, are they open about their financials?
Yeah, like, where's the money coming from? Where's it going?
Exactly. If they're vague about that, it's a bad sign.
Okay, what else?
Pay attention to how they use emotional appeals. Like, are they tugging at your heartstrings to get you to donate?
Yeah, those sad puppy dog eyes.
Right. But it's important to see if there's substance behind those stories.
Like, are they actually doing the work they claim to be doing?
Exactly.
Okay, so transparency, emotional appeals, anything else?
Watch out for an overemphasis on the individual. Like, is it more about them or about the cause?
Yeah, like, if they're always posting selfies and talking about their lavish lifestyle.
That's a red flag. It should make you question their motives.
So it's about, like, Looking past the surface.
Right. Don't be fooled by the glitz and glamour. Focus on the substance.
And if you're still not sure, what should you do?
Do your own research, look for independent reviews, check their ratings.
There are websites that, like, rate charities.
Yep. And you can also see if they've been covered in legitimate news outlets.
Okay, so we got to be savvy consumers of information.
Absolutely. Don't just blindly trust what you see online.
All right, so we've talked about red flags, we've talked about doing our research, but like, what's the bigger picture here? What can we learn from this whole cocaine queen saga?
I think it's a reminder that the lines between reality and illusion are getting blurrier.
Especially online.
Yeah, it's so easy to create a fake persona, to present a version of yourself that's not real.
And it's not just individuals, right?
No, organizations can do it too.
So we got to be extra careful.
Be skeptical, ask questions, demand transparency.
Don't be afraid to dig a little deeper.
Exactly. The truth is out there, but sometimes you got to work to find it.
Well said. Well, I think that about wraps it up for our deep dive into the cocaine queen.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Full of twists and turns.
Important lessons.
Absolutely. So, to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this journey.
Keep those critical thinking skills sharp.
And remember, don't believe everything you see online.
Stay curious. Stay informed.
And until next time, stay skeptical.